How's it going, everybody? Today we got a story time of a spoiled cousin who destroys his iPad, and it just goes literally insane. This story is pretty hilarious. I know you will enjoy it, so sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Leave a like on the video to claim your free nothing. With that all being said, let's just jump right into it. So we're going to call the subscriber who submitted this story Charlie. So anyways, right, Charlie had a cousin, and his cousin was extremely spoiled. So basically how it worked was, his mom's brother was a super rich dude. He just made a lot of money in business or whatever. I didn't really get any details beyond that. But basically what ended up happening was, the brother of the subscriber Charlie's mom, aka the father of his cousin, right? He was pretty good at making money, but the problem was he wasn't very good at parenting, which at the end of the day, parenting is pretty difficult. But the thing is, it gets a little bit more complex when, you have a lot of money in the equation, because a lot of times, kids will just be like, oh, I can do anything I want. I must basically be a god then, right? Unfortunately, that's kind of how it was going. And the spoiled kid cousin had become worse and worse every single year. And so another thing is that the subscriber Charlie basically never sees his spoiled kid little cousin except for one time, well, maybe a couple times per year, but the one time that is guaranteed, because, they might have one or two random appearances or whatever, one or two kind of they might see each other on the whim, the parents might come up with something in the summer, but there's this one time every single year at Christmas time, the whole family comes together, and so he knows that he's going to at least see his spoiled cousin every single year at that time. So anyways, it was late December, and the subscriber Charlie just got out of school for winter break. Yeah, so anyways, right, sure enough, the subscriber, he's kind of talking to his mom about what they're going to do for Christmas, because he's trying to, in his own kind of way, trying to do his best to perhaps tilt her allegiances, or make her potentially be like, oh, well, maybe we should have it at home this year. Maybe we shouldn't go to grandma's for Christmas, because why don't we mix it up? Why don't we ... right? So the mom didn't budge. And the only reason that the subscriber Charlie was even saying that kind of stuff was because he did not want to have to deal with his little cousin. Because the thing was, it was really just him, another kid, and the little cousin. So the amount of little cousin he had to deal with was just so freaking annoying. This kid was so spoiled and entitled, and really just a massive jerk. So the subscriber is kind of just like, dude, I don't want to deal with this kid. You know what I mean? I just don't want to deal with it. Yeah, anyways, so sure enough, right, the subscriber wasn't able to convince his mom to not have them to have the family vacation there, or have Christmas there. So anyways, he gets in his car. Or not his, yeah, I guess in his car, with his mom, his dad, and they drive down about 3 hours to where his grandparents lived. So they all get there, and they kind of hop out of the car, and they walk up to the house, and opens, they go up to the door, knock on it, and the grandmother opens the door. She's like, oh, so glad you guys made it. I hope that, the weather wasn't too bad. It was a little snowy, it's a little slushy, there's a little bit of traffic, not too bad though. And they were like, oh no, it wasn't too bad. And so they walk on in, and sure enough, in there, the spoiled kid is sitting on the couch, his arms folded over, looking upset. Basically, what happened was previously the spoiled kid was too busy going on his iPad, so his parents were like, come down and hang with the family, you need to do that, you need to be with us, and there's a little bit of a tussle apparently, and then eventually the spoiled kid, he didn't give up, but he was kind of forced to give up, if that makes sense. Yeah, so anyways, right, sure enough, the subscriber is kind of just seeing all this, and he's like, okay, I already know that this is going to be a tough, he already knows he needs to deal with all this kind of stuff. Anyways, right, so he walks on in, and the atmosphere is a little bit weird, but basically when he walks on in, some family members like, oh, why don't you and your little cousin go upstairs? The worst thing, too, is earlier I said that there was normally 3 kids there, the subscriber, the little cousin, and another kid. So that other kid didn't show up. I think maybe he was sick or something, or his parents wanted to do something else. So the subscriber, Charlie, was literally just stuck with the little cousin for the entire time. And obviously that is not ideal news for Charlie, as he's not the biggest fan ever. So yeah, sure enough, the subscriber's like, oh, geez, okay. And the spoiled kid, little cousin, gets up and is like, fine. Walks over, doesn't even say hello, doesn't even really look at Charlie, just immediately storms upstairs, and Charlie kind of awkwardly follows behind him because he kind of got the impression from all the other parents that he was supposed to awkwardly follow behind him. So yeah, they both go up the stairs, and Charlie kind of like looks into so the spoiled kid runs ahead of him. So Charlie doesn't really know. Charlie goes up the stairs, turns left, and kind of looks down the hallway, and eventually he's like, okay, I hear kind of like noises coming from this room. So he goes into the room, and he sees the spoiled kid sitting there on his iPad playing, I don't know, like Clash Royale or something, like making all the loud noises, whatever. And to Charlie, it's like, oh, okay, it's only a couple hours, who cares? He sits down, and immediately the spoiled kid's like, do you know that I'm getting the new iPad 4 tomorrow? By the way, so I wasn't actually given the details. And by the way, if you want to submit your own stories, go to Instagram, look up Connor Pugs, follow me, and then message me your story, and that's how I get them submitted. There might be an email in the works. I'm considering it. Anyways, though, yeah, so I wasn't told what exact iPad version, but I was told that it was the old iPad. It was like the newest iPad. So let's just say the newest iPad was the iPad 4, and the second newest was the iPad 3. So the spoiled kid was currently on an iPad 3. Yeah, so the spoiled kid's like, you know who's getting the iPad 4 tomorrow? Me. I'm getting the new iPad tomorrow. And the subscriber's like, oh, sweet, dude, that's cool. He's like, oh, what kind of iPad do you have? And the subscriber's like, oh, I don't actually have any iPads. I kind of just play games on my computer at home. Because, by the way, the subscriber, Charlie, was like, he wasn't like 25 and the spoiled kid was 8, but he was a little bit insignificantly older by like 3-4 years. So there's not a lot that they had in common in the first place. So anyways, Charlie's kind of says like, hey man, I kind of just use I just use a gaming computer and I use my phone. I don't really use iPads. That's still really cool though. I heard the new iPad is really cool. The spoiled kid's like, dude, and this is while the spoiled kid is not even making eye contact with Charlie. He's literally just sitting there on his iPad playing whatever games. He's like, dude, wait till we hear all the jealousy in your voice right now. It's kind of embarrassing for you, but whatever. And the subscriber's like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, wait till we hear how jealous you are that I'm getting the new iPad and you are not. So yeah, I shed it. Maybe I shouldn't have shed it like that, but it's the truth. So yeah, I shed it. And the subscriber's like, dude, I don't care. Like, I'm happy for you. I don't really use I don't really use the iPad. So I don't know why I'd be jealous that you're getting the new iPad. I think that's cool. And obviously you use iPads. So, I mean, that's cool for you, man. I really don't care. The subscriber, by the way, unless he was lying to me as well, was not jealous. Why would he care? It's like, oh, you're getting the new thing that you use and I don't use? Cool. I use other things. I mean, arguably things that are better for games that I want to play, but okay, if you want to make this into an I'm jealous of you situation, then okay, dude, sure, go ahead. So anyways, the rest of the next 3 hours before dinner, because they got there around 2, was the spoiled kid being like, oh, I'm just thinking about my iPad tomorrow. Dude, where do we stop being jealous right now? And the subscriber's like, dude, I'm not jealous. I don't know what to say. So anyways, eventually the subscriber goes downstairs early, and his mom looks at him like, why aren't you up there with your little cousin? Like, you're supposed to be spending family time. And the subscriber's like, the only thing he's been telling me is how he's getting the new iPad tomorrow and how I'm so jealous or something. So the mom looks at him and looks at Charlie. He's like, okay, you can stay down here. Because the mom was trying to save face and be like, oh, you should go back up there. You should make sure that, your little cousin is good. But she also kind of knew who this little cousin was and did totally understand that, yeah, sometimes he wasn't the greatest guy ever. Sometimes this kid was pretty annoying. So I think after giving it a shot, she was like, okay, yeah, dude, fine. You can stay down here with us. I get it. Yeah, so anyways, right, sure enough, the subscriber is pretty happy that his mom kind of, in a sense, saw the light, if that makes sense, and allowed him to stay down here. So yeah, the subscriber's like, okay, whatever, this is cool. And eventually it's dinner time, so they're all at the dinner table, and they're sitting around. Grandmother made some pretty cool food, so that's always great. And that's when the subscriber looks over, and the spoiled kid, the spoiled cousin, is sitting directly across from him, and mouths to him, I know you're jealous. And the subscriber is like, really trying to hold back that I'm not freaking jealous, dude. I don't care about your stupid little thing. Like, I literally do not care. How can I jam this into your stupid little brain? Like, subscriber's getting a little tilted, I'm not gonna lie. He's not super happy. So yeah, anyways, right, the subscriber's like, bro, like, I do not care. How can I get this into your skull that I simply do not care? So yeah, sure enough, right, the subscriber's like, okay, whatever. And they have, they're having food, Christmas dinner, it's great. So anyways, after that, they go sit into the living room and have a little, like, family Christmas Eve type chill session, whatever. And, so at some point, the little cousin is like, oh, and, my iPad right now that I'm playing with is, like, it's pretty cool and all, but, I'm really excited for, if somehow a new iPad came that was nicer, and, like, so the subscriber kind of just assumed, the subscriber, by the way that the spoiled kid was saying it, kind of just assumed that for a fact the spoiled kid was getting the new iPad. So the subscriber kind of, like, looks up and looks to the parents, and the parents of the spoiled kid kind of look at each other with this look of, like, uh-oh. And that's when the subscriber realized, wait a minute, I don't think the spoiled kid's getting the new iPad tomorrow. Anyways, they all go upstairs, and they go to sleep. And the subscriber is still thinking about this, because he doesn't know for a fact whether the spoiled kid is or is not getting an iPad tomorrow. But he is starting to believe that it's looking less and less likely that the kid is actually going to get an iPad tomorrow. And he's starting to think, wait a minute. There's a chance that the spoiled kid's not going to get an iPad. And, well, let me just say, by the way that he was building this up, there's definitely going to be a reaction. And let me just give you a spoiler. Yes, there's a reaction, and it is an insane reaction. It is a crazy reaction that I know you'll be entertained by. Real quick, though, if you made it this far into the video, I want you to comment spoiled down below. If you're on YouTube, comment spoiled. And if you're on Spotify, there's like what did you think of this podcast or whatever, comment in there. iPad, that'll be the secret word of the day. If you're on YouTube, make sure to leave a like on the video right now. Subscribe with post notifications on. And if you're on Spotify, which, by the way, YouTube viewers, we're on Spotify, just look up Connor Pugs, and vice versa to Spotify viewers. If you're on Spotify, make sure that you have rated the podcast 5 stars, followed with notifications on the podcast as well. There's a poll that pops up with every single podcast. In the first 7 days, you can vote on it. Please vote on it. If you see it, it helps me out. That being said, let's see how the spoiled kid reacts to not getting the iPad. Let me give you a spoiler. He doesn't react well. Yeah, so anyways, right, eventually it's Christmas morning. Everyone comes downstairs to the living room. There's a tree. Everything is so good and pristine and exciting and all that kind of stuff. There's this kind of great feeling in the air. Honestly, man, I'm going to be a little open. One thing that has been nice and I'm totally scared about is there's this kind of, like, feeling you get on Christmas morning, especially when you're a kid. And I still kind of feel it. It's not exactly the same as it used to be, but I'm terrified for the day when I don't feel that kind of feeling. And honestly, I think I'm just going to, I'm going to try and enjoy the magic as long as I can. That was kind of depressing. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, so they come down. There's this great kind of magical feeling. It's Christmas morning, man. It's good. But that feeling was about to be disrupted. So eventually, they go through the presents under the tree, and the spoiled kid starts going through his presents, right? And guess what? The majority of the presents are for the spoiled kid because the parents, their parenting style of the spoiled kid is just throw a bunch of money at him. Hopefully he'll turn out all right, ? That was their style. Anyways, let me just say that style may or may not be ideal. That might not be the best style ever. And yeah, spoiler, it's not the best style ever. So yeah, sure enough, right, the subscriber is, he's watching as the spoiled kid is slowly unwrapping every single present. This is until there was one present left. And by the way, the spoiled kid got a ton of super cool stuff. He got like a new Xbox, which he never had an Xbox before, so he can play games on it. He got a bunch of other, I don't know, but I was told it was a bunch of other stuff, Xbox included. A great Christmas overall, right? Great haul. So there's one last present under the tree. It is kind of box-shaped, which unfortunately kind of was shaped like an iPad, but it may or may not have been, right? So the spoiled kid is like, oh, I think I know what this is. And the spoiled kid's parents are like looking back and forth at each other. And also, the spoiled kid had his old iPad out there because when they came down, they didn't open the presents immediately because they wanted to make sure that everyone was awake. Makes sense. They made some like coffee for the grown-ups or whatever. So they didn't do that immediately. So the spoiled kid had to bring down his iPad because he wasn't going to be alone with his thoughts for 2 milliseconds, right? So that's an important detail for later on. Like, you guys just need to remember that. Yeah, so the spoiled kid's like, I think I know what this is. And at this point, the subscriber in his head is like, Charlie's like, oh, maybe it is an iPad. It's low-key iPad shaped, but then if it is an iPad, why are the parents kind of looking back and forth at each other so much? So anyways, the spoiled kid opens it up. And the way it's opened up, Charlie can't see what it is initially, or at least at first, because it's facing like towards the spoiled kid. Like the spoiled kid is opening it up, opens up the box, and Charlie can't see what's in the box. So Charlie's looking like, what's inside? What's inside? Like, I'm trying to figure this out. And the spoiled kid's just looking at it. You see this look of freaking horror on his face. And he literally drops the box. And the contents of the box spill out. It's like a book on Pokemon or something, which the spoiled kid was into. It was a good present. Like, actually was like a pretty good present that he probably wanted. But it wasn't the iPad. And the spoiled kid is literally just sitting there on his knees. And it's like dead silent for a second because this is such a strange reaction to opening a present, right? And that's when, the parents are like, oh, honey, well, pretty good Christmas, right? And the spoiled kid's like, no, Mom, Dad, did I miss a present under the tree? And they're like, no, that's all of them. Spoiled kid's like, no, where's my iPad? I need a new iPad. And they're like, sweetie, like, you told us about that you wanted an iPad 2 days ago. Dad went to the store and they were straight sold out. Like, we can get you one later. He's like, no, I need a Christmas iPad for now. And the spoiled kid starts going around the room, huffing and puffing or whatever. And so everyone's like, oh boy, buddy cracked. Oh no. And at this point, look, Charlie was older than this kid. So he had some maturity on this kid. In addition to having some maturity on this kid, he also knows that, I don't know, like, how do I put this, right? This kid is, was raised improperly. That's not really his fault. And he was younger. But at the same time, Charlie was like, come on, bro. Come on now. You really came out here and, you were all like, oh, I'm getting the iPad. Stupid idiot. You're so jealous of me. And then you don't get the iPad. Like, that's a little ironic, bro. Like, that's a little something at least. Yeah. So anyways, it's pretty awkward. And that's when the spoiled kid goes over to his iPad, picks it up, and throws it across the room. And here's the thing. He doesn't throw it onto the carpet. He throws it into the dining room, which has like marble or some kind of hard surface of a floor. The iPad hits the floor and like very clearly makes a noise of like not doing so well. But it's face down. So it sounds like it's shattered, but you don't know yet. So the spoiled kid's parents are like, why did you do that? He's like, well, I don't need this iPad anymore because I'm clearly getting iPad 4 today because I need a Christmas iPad. So at this point, here's the thing. Maybe this behavior would have actually been somewhat acceptable back at the house, but you also got to realize this behavior is happening in front of the entire family. The spoiled kid's dad's mom, aka the grandma, is watching this. And I think the spoiled kid, or the spoiled kid's dad, is super embarrassed. So I think the spoiled kid's dad decides that no. So he literally says, no. Maybe we would have gotten you the iPad, but the way you just reacted, you're not getting the iPad. And the spoiled kid's like, wait. And he runs over to the iPad. He picks it up, and it's completely destroyed. The one he threw. He's like, Dad, can you get me a new iPad 3, please? I'm sorry, I really am. How am I going to play my games? And the spoiled kid's dad is like, well, you can play with any of the hundreds of presents you got today, but I'm not getting anything else for a little while. And the spoiled kid's like, Dad, seriously, what the freak am I supposed to do? not playing my iPad all day? Like, come on now, let's not be, Dad, what? And he's like, you shouldn't have thrown your iPad out of anger expecting me to get you a new one. The spoiled kid's like, Dad, come on now. Dad, you cannot be serious right now. And he literally runs up the stairs screaming, ah. So, yeah. Charlie and his parents, they excuse themselves early. They say, so great to see you all. And I think Charlie's mom whispers something to the dad of like, you got this. Like, if you need me, just call. Anyways, they get back into the car, and Charlie makes a little remark to his parents. He's like, hey, like, I know I'm not the greatest kid, and I definitely, have my moments. But come on now, I'm pretty good, right? I mean, you see what you could have had. And, Charlie's mom laughs a little bit, and she's like, don't push it. Don't push it, Charlie. He's like, okay. But you can see how bad it can be, right?